Okay po, so good morning everyone. So before we start, mag-attendance po muna tayo. So kindly open your mic and say present if you're here sa ating Google Meet. So first po is Aguado, Aguila, Andal, Atienza,
Present po.
Barte, Bendicio, Bulaklak,
Present po.
Kanako, Cantos,
Present po.
Carpen, Comilla,
Present po.
Daitol, Kirk, De Castro,
Present po.
Digma, correct? Disakula, Ebora, Endaya, Gahol,
Present po.
Garcia Charibel, Garcia LJ,
Present po.
Walter Camille,
Present po.
Jordan Kim,
Present po.
Lagartera Christine,
Present po.
Laraya,
Present po.
Latay,
Present po.
Makatangay Cyrene,
Present po.
Malabanan,
Present po.
Marmol,
Present po.
Marquez,
Present po.
Medel,
Present po.
Present po.
Mitra,
Present po.
Motas,
Present po.
Onte Harvey, Reyes, Sastrillo, Tolentino,
Present po.
and Tuangco.
Present po.
Okay po, noted po sa mga students na naglagay po ng name nila sa chat box. And para po dun sa mga students na hindi pa po nakapag-attendance, kindly put your name na lang po sa chat box and word ko na lang later. So, for today po, yung i-discuss natin is the continuation of the chapter 6, which is the chapter 6.2 na tayo. Na-discuss na natin ang system analysis and process. And for today, i-discuss natin ang system analysis and design methodologies. And after that, we will discuss also the last chapter, which is the chapter 7. So, it is the structured analysis process and tools. Kapag po natin within this sked or hanggang 10 yung ating discussion, so I will upload the last activity and the final requirements for you to be able to start and use the remaining sked natin. Gawa kayo ng ating final requirements. And then, wala na pong question doon sa groupings natin. So, if meron na po kayong group, kindly submit your name, including the group number and then the members. Ay po, so visit ba yung present? Methodologies. So, ito yung step-by-step process kung paano gagawa system implementation. These are the learning objectives. So, at the end of this lesson, the student should be able to describe various approaches to the system development life cycle or the SDLC that can be used to structure a development project, and then explain how to set based on project characteristics. So, it is also a series of steps to perform and deliverables to produce an organized collection of concepts, beliefs, values, and normative principles supported by material resources. So, methodologies in general are viewed as processes to solve mainly issues where the solution and the outcomes are not easily predictable. For example, is having high uncertainty, and then methodologies sources are internally developed by the organizations, consulting firms, software vendors, and then government agencies. So take note guys, ang methodologies ay ginagamit lalo na sa complex problems. So yung hindi isang solution. So for example is hindi mo agad kailangan mo sa isang company. So, kailangan mo munang i-analyze before mag-proceed sa implementing. So, again guys, methodology, it is a step-by-step process kung paano tayo gagawa o magde-develop ng isang system from planning to implement. And then we have different designs of methodologies. So we have waterfall, parallel, V-model. We have the rapid application development, or the RAD. So we have I-typing, and last is the ADL. So let's discuss one most known methodology used to coordinate the efforts of information systems development is known as the waterfall. So based upon SDLC assumes a project phase is complete before moving to the next phase. So ang goal po nito is to win each and it ensures and happens. So, ang waterfall methodology po is ang pinaka-oldest at ang pinaka-traditional. So, dito step by step talaga. So, parang waterfall siya, pababa yung process. So, hindi ka pwedeng tumalon sa next step hanggat hindi pa tapos yung current step. So, bawal po tayong maglikdang hanggat hindi pa okay, hindi pa correct at hindi pa meron pang improvement. Dapat tayo sa next. Ang ating current step ay correct and has high quality outcomes. Okay, gets po. So, sa waterfall po, we have first is it studies the existing systems to provide clear understanding of the problem and to determine the project goal. Next is we have analysis, so analyzes end user information, determines any deficiencies of the existing systems, and then data collected in this stage will be used as part of the new system. So the features and systems function are described in details, including screen layouts, business rules, process diagrams, programming, implementation. So these are the designs. So designs are translated into code using programming languages. And then next we have the test. So systems is put into a testing environment to check for errors and bugs. And then lastly is the meeting. So the system is put into so changes, corrections, and and the system begins to evolve. So, dito sa ating waterfall methodology, so for example is gagawa ka ng enrollment system sa school. So, ang kailangan mo muna natin kumpletuhin is lahat ng requirements bago tayo mag-code, programming. So, hindi pwedeng dadagdagan natin later kasi tapos na yung phase. So, dapat okay na po yung first phase, jump sa second phase. So, very organized at very strict ang process ni waterfall. Okay, gets po. So, in waterfall methodology, we have the strengths and weaknesses. So, system requirements identified begins, and then requirements are frozen as project proceeds, no moving targets allowed. While its weakness naman, so it must wait a long time before there is visible evidence of the new system and it takes a long time from start to finish. So basically, ang strength po ni waterfall is organized and high quality output. While yung weakness naman niya is matagal makita yung result. And then, hindi siya flexible. Since bawal mabago ang po, kung ano yung requirements niya dun sa mga phases niya or sa flow, hindi po siya mababago. Okay, gets? Next naman, so we have the parallel and the V model. So, Parallel development, so it subdivide the project into sub-projects that can be worked on at the same time and then reduce the over. So instead na isang malaking system, hinahati-hati siya sa sub-projects na sabay-sabay ginagawa. Nagagets po? So ito po ay hinahati-hati na sub-projects na sabay-sabay ginagawa. And then, it reduces the overall project length. So for example po is yung ating mga company sa online shopping app. So for example is sa Shopee. So sa ating company ng Shopee, lang different department. So meron doon na Department 1, Department 2, Department 3. So for ang Department 1 is naka-designate sa pag-process or pag-code ng checkout system. And then the Department 2 is naka-assign naman sa product listing. So sila yung nag-post or nagkagawa ng mga sellers. And then Department 3 naman is sila yung naka-assign for the payment. So iba-iba sila ng ginagawa but at the same sabay silang nag. Also, we have the strengths and weaknesses of parallel development. So for its strengths, it reduces overall project time compared to waterfall, and then it reduces the need to rework with shorter time, less chance of requirements changing. And for its weaknesses naman, so creating sub-projects requires careful design, decisions, and integrating sub-projects at the end can be complex and difficult. So sa madaling salita, ang strengths po ni parallel development is mas mabilis siyang matapos compared sa waterfall. And then ang weakness naman niya is mahirap siya integrate lahat sa dulo. Gets? So moving on sa ating V model development methodology. So it emphasizes system quality through test plan development. So sa ating V model, similar siya sa waterfall pero mas focus siya sa testing. So every stage may katapat na testing phase. So sa ating V model, bawat step, chinecheck ang kanyang phase, kung tama ba bago mag-proceed sa next phase. We have also the strength and weaknesses of our V model. So first is simple and straightforward. Next is quality improves through the emphasis on testing, and lastly including quality assurance, expertise early in the project, strength, system quality. And then ang weaknesses naman, and severe or strict and difficult to use in dynamic business environment. So ang strength po ni V model is high quality and early testing. So in early testing, makikita na po agad natin doon kung may kailangan pa bang improve before po tayo mag-proceed sa next phase. And then ang weaknesses naman is rigid siya. Then guys, sa mabilis magbago na is gets. Nagagets po ang ating parallel and V model methodology. So next naman, proceed tayo sa rapid application development. So it incorporates special techniques. These tools, the JAD sessions, the visual programming languages, and the visual editors of traditional programming languages. And then ang goal po ng ating is to get some portion and in the user's hand. So, ang goal po nito is makagawa agad ng system na magagamit ng users kahit po ito ay hindi perfect or hindi pa fully improved. Then, ito dapat ay mabilis. Gets? So, ang rapid application development, so it is designed para may magamit ang user kahit ito pa ay hindi fully function, pero dapat mabilis ang system. So we have three rapid development approaches. So, katulad nga na nabanggit ko, so we have iterative, the system prototyping, and the throwaway prototyping. So first is iterative development methodology. So it is a series of versions developed sequentially. So ang iterative development methodology po, so ito po yung paunti-unti mong binubuo ang system. May version 1, may version 2. Kaya gets? So gradual po na system, hindi agad siya buo as a whole. So ang real life example po nito is katulad ng mga mobile apps natin na dina-download sa ating mga gadgets. So for example is yung ating messenger. So doon kapag nag-download tayo ng messenger, bibigay natin sa atin ng app is the basic features. And then, gradually, mag-update sila ng version. So, di ba minsan is kasi nag-upgrade na ng versions. So, kapag nag-upgrade tayo ng versions, mag-a-add sila ng panibagong features. So, katulad po dito sa ating iterative, so ito po ay paunti-unting binubuo ang system. Gagets? So, gradual po, nag-i-improve ang system. So, for the strength, so users tend to use quickly and users identify additional needs for later versions based on real experience of current version. And then its weaknesses naman, so user faced with using an incomplete system for a time. So users must be patient and wait for fully functional system. Moving on sa ating system prototyping development methodology, so it create a rough version of system quickly and grow it into final system with repetitive typing naman. So, para makita ng users, then magbibigay sila ng feedback. Nagigets? So, dito sa ating system prototyping, so they create a prototype and then ginagawa nila yon para makita ng users yung outcome. And then after that, magbibigay sila ng feedback. So, the strength of system prototyping, so users get to work with prototype very quickly. Then feedback cycles let users identify changes and refine real requirements. While ang weakness naman niya, superficial analysis may cause problem. Design decision may be poor, and then overlook features may be hard to add later. So, dito naman sa prototyping, so for example, is gagawin. So, ipapakita mo agad ang design and then the users ay magbibigay sa'yo ng feedback. For example, nagawa tayo ng isang enrollment system and then after that, pinakita agad natin sa mga users yung design. And then, give you feedback and then if may kapag may ayaw sila or may gusto sila, pwede agad nilang ipabago. However, ang weakness niya is poor initial design. For example is, ang ipapakita natin hindi okay sa mata ng user. So, for them, yung feedback nila is poor. But then it is feedback since ito ay nagre-require ng improvement. So, next naman, throw away prototyping development option before design is finalized. And then design options are thrown away, but learning from them is factored into final design. So, throw away, gagawa ka ng prototype, pero itatapon din after. So, ginagamit lang siya para maintindihan ang requirements or para maipakita sa users ang requirements. And after that, i-dispose na or itatapon na. Nagigets po? So, the strength of throwaway prototyping, so it is Uncertainty is minimized and then important issues are understood before building the final system. And then ang weakness naman niya, it may take longer compared to system prototyping. And then for the last one, so we have agile development. So it is several iterations of full mini SDLCs over a period of time, and then development to overcome limitations of traditional and even RAD or the rapid application development methodologies, formal modeling, and documentations are eliminated in favor of face-to-face communication. And then ang goal po nito is early customer satisfaction, priority of allowing change, priority of communication over documentation, focus on short cycles that produce a complete software product, and highly adaptable in dynamic environment. So last is the agile. So ito yung pinaka-modern. So ang focus nito is mabilis, flexible, and laging may communication sa client. So ang one of the real example nito is yung mga startup company. So hindi pa sure ang requirements, so kailangan flexible ang system. So every week may update at improvement, and meron silang communication sa clients if merong gustong ipa-improve ang client. So ang strength of agile methodology, so it has fast delivery of result and then works well in projects with undefined or changing requirements. So ang weaknesses naman niya, so it requires discipline, significant user involvement is essential, and then initial high learning curve, and then works best in small projects, and then more coordination required because analysts or designers or users all work together in every iteration. So basically, ang strength po ng ating agile methodology is fast and flexible. And then ang weaknesses po niya is kailangan ng active participation ng user. And medyo mahirap siya sa beginners. So, meron pong question saan design methodologies. So we have different types of methodology. So first is we have the waterfall. Under the waterfall, meron tayong V-model and parallel development. And then after that, we have the three types of RAD. So first is the iterative, next is the system prototyping, and then lastly is the thrown away prototyping. And after that, tayong agile methodologies. So my question po sa ating chapter 6.2. Chapter visible po ba ang aking presentation? Nakikita po ang presentation. Okay po. So, ngayon naman, ang i-discuss natin is the last and the final chapter, information system. It is all about the structured analysis, process, and tools. So, dito naman, mas pag-aaralan natin kung paano ina-analyze ang system gamit ang mga tools at diagrams. A typographical error. So, this is chapter 7. Learning based or the learning objective. And what is the structured analysis? To know what is a structured analysis process, to know what are the structured analysis. So first, let's define what does structured analysis mean. So structured analysis is a developed method and its activities in a logical way. So it is that analyze develop a new system specification which can be easily understandable by user, and then structured analysis is a fundamental aspect of system. So ang structured analysis is isang method para maintindihan ang system in a logical and step-by-step way. So gumagamit ito ng diagrams, graphical tools para mas madaling intindihin ng users at developers ang ginagawang o dinedevelop na system. So next naman, so we have the attributes of structured analysis. So first is it is a graphic which specifies the presentation of application, and then next naman, it divides the processes so that it gives a clear picture of system flow. And it is a logical rather than physical. For examples or the elements of system do not depend on vendor or hardware. And lastly, it is an approach that works from high-level overviews to lower-level details. So, ang structured analysis ay gumagamit ng graphic. So, gumagamit ng diagrams. Next naman is the logical. So, hindi nakadepende sa hardware. And then next naman is the step-by-step process. So, from general to detailed process. So, parang hinihimay-himay mo yung system hanggang maintindihan mo lahat ng process. Nagagets? So, why do we use these tools? So, in structured analysis process, so we have to use tools. So, first is we use graphics whenever possible to help communicate better with the user between logical and physical system, and then build a logical system model to familiarize the user with system characteristics and interrelationships before implementation. So, bakit gumagamit tayo ng tools? So, para mas madaling maintindihan ng user ang system, para mas makita ang flow, para mas ma-distinguish ang logical at physical system. Kasi minsan, mahirap i-explain kung puro salita lang. So, diagrams. So, we have the structured analysis process. So, first is studying the current business environment, modeling the old logical system, modeling a new logical system, physical environment, evaluating design, and creating structured specification. So, ang process po ng ating structured analysis is the study current system, and then analyze. And then after that, we will create logical model and then evaluate the alternatives and then design a new system. So parang from old system to improved or sa ating to-be system. Okay, gets? So natatandaan pa ba ang ating as-is system at ang ating to-be system? System, while ang ating to-be system is the improved system. So in structured analysis, we have this different structured analysis tools. So first, we have data flow diagram, data dictionary, decision trees, decision tables, structured English, and the pseudocode. So data flow diagram, so it was first developed by Larry Constantine as a way of expressing system requirements in a graphical form, and it is also known as a bubble chart. So in data flow diagram is a graphical representation of flow data in an information system, and it is capable of depicting incoming data flow, outgoing data flow, and stored data. And then the FD does not mention anything about how data flow through the and flow chart. So the flow chart depicts flow of control and program modules, and then the FD depicts flow of data in the system of various levels, and then the FD does not contain any control or branch elements. So ang DFD ay diagram na nagpapakita kung paano data sa system. So important, take note lang na hindi niya ipinapakita kung paano ginagawa, kundi kung paano dumadaloy ang data. Nagigets? So ipinapakita ng data flow diagram kung paano dumadaloy ang data sa isang system. DFD symbols. So we have square, so it defines a source or the destination of data. And then we have the arrow, so it identifies data flow, means the data in motion, and it is a pipeline through which information flows. And then we have the circle, so it represents a process that transforms incoming data into outgoing. And then lastly is the open rectangle, so it is a data store or data at rest or a temporary repository of data. So these are the four main symbols ng ating DFD. So we have this process, data flow, the data store, and the entity. And then next naman, we have the rules for the DFD. So first is process must have one input and an output. And then next is the data store must have at least one data flow, one data flow in and one data flow out. And then next we have data storage must go through a process, and then processes in the DFD go to another processes or data store. So important rules, so dapat may input at output ang process. Nagigets? So, data store, meron ding pasok at labas, data flow in at data flow out. And then, next is, lahat ay dapat dumadaan sa process. So, hindi pwedeng random lang ang flow. Nagigets? So, lahat po ng ating TFT is dapat may process. So, next is DFD versus the flow chart. So DFD, so it is a process on a data flow can operate in parallel. So looping not shown. So each a very different timing. While sa process flow chart naman, so processes on flow charts are sequential. So sunod-sunod po yung ating process sa flow chart. And then it shows the sequence of steps as an algorithm, and hence looping and branching are part of the flow chart. So DFD means flow of data, while the flow chart naman is flow ng process or logic. So magkaiba sila kahit parehas ang diagram. Nagagets? So ang DFD is the flow of data while ang flowchart naman is the flow of process. And then next, we have the types of DFD. So we have two. Is the logical DFD, and this type of DFD concentrates on the system process and flow of data in the system. So, for example, a banking software system. So it shows how data is moved between different entities. And the next naman is the physical DFD. So this type of DFD shows how the data flow is actually implemented in the system, and it is more specific and close to the implementation. So ang logical DFD po natin is what the system does, while ang physical po natin is how the system works. Nagigets? Ang logical DFD natin is kung ano ang ginagawa ng system, at ang physical DFD naman is kung paano nag-work ang isang system. So it shows how data flows in a system. It describes what data is moved from the one entity to another. It focuses on what happens in the data flow. And then another name for logical DFD. So it shows how system works, not how the system can be implemented. Gets? And then for the physical, so it shows how data flow is actually implemented in the system. It describes how data is moved from one entity to another, and it shows how the current system operates and how the system will be implemented. So moving on, we have three different levels of DFT. So level 0, so it is the highest abstraction level, and known as level 0 DFT, which depicts the entire information system as one diagram concealing all underlying details. Level 0 DFTs are also known as context level. So this is the all of level 0 DFT. So ang ating pong level 0 DFT is also known as the overview. So ang pinapakita po ng level 0 is yung ating overview up. So, di ba, meron tayong customer. So, pag si customer nag-order, ipaprocess siya ng online shopping system. Pag na-process siya ng online shopping system, i-deliver na siya papunta kay customer. So, basically, ang level 0 po is the overview system. And then next one is the level 1. So, the level 0 DFD is broken down into more specific, and the level 1 DFD depicts basic modules in the system and flow of data among various modules. So level 1 DFD also mention basic processes and sources of information. So sa level 1 po, meron na siyang details. Okay, gets? So kung kanina ang pinakita lang is nag-order si customer, ipaprocess ng system, after ma-process ng system, i-deliver na. So ngayon, mas detailed na siya. So, pag si customer nag-order, so ipaprocess siya ng sales. And then after that, processing yung order niya. And then, pag na-process yung order, i-verify ang data ni customer. Pag na-verify ang customer data, next naman is proceed siya sa finance verification, yung mga mode of payments. After that, yung order process is titingnan din kung may issue yung item na bibilhin. And if wala, diretso na siya sa pagpaprocess ng sales and then deliver sa customers. Nagagets? So, ang level 0 is overview. Sa level 1 is detailed. Ano na siya? Meron na siyang detail. And then, for the level 2, so at this level, it shows how data flows inside the modules mentioned in level 1. So higher level DFTs can be transformed into more specific lower level DFTs with deeper level of understanding unless the desired level of specification is achieved. So dito naman sa level 2 is mas pina-detailed yung process. So mas specific na siya. So apology kasi walang example, but then ang level 2 natin is mas specific detailed kaysa sa level 1. So again, this is one of the example ng ating level 0. So ito ay overview of order processing system. And then for the level 1 naman, so nagkaroon na siya ng details. And then for our level 2, mas specific yung detailed niya compared sa level 1. Okay, gets? And then we have the advantages and disadvantages ng ating TFT. So first for the advantages, so it aids and it aids in describing the boundaries. It is beneficial for communicating existing system knowledge to the users. A straightforward graphical technique which is easy to recognize. Then the FDs can provide a detailed representation of system components. It used as the part of system documentation life. Then the FDs are easier to understand by technical and non-technical audiences. And it supports the logic behind the data flow within the system. And then on this advantage naman niya, it makes the programmers little confusing concerning the system, and the biggest drawback of the DFD is that it simply takes a long time to create, so long that the analyst may not receive support from the management to complete it. So after DFD, we have the hypodiagram, or the hierarchical input process output diagram. So it is a combination of two organized methods to analyze the system and provide us the means of documentation. So hypodiagram represents the hierarchy of modules in the software system. So analyst uses hypodiagram in order to obtain high-level view of system function. It decomposes functions into sub-functions in hierarchical manner, and then it depicts the function performed by the system. So hypodiagrams are good for documentation purpose, and then their graphical representation make it easier for designers and managers to get a pictorial idea of the system structure. So ang po ng ating diagram is the hierarchical input process output. So pinapakita ng hierarchy ng system from main function hanggang sa sub-function. So for example is yung ating enrollment system. So before tayo meron siyang sub-function. So first is kailangan natin mag-sign up or mag-log in sa system. And then next is magpo-proceed tayo sa enrollment. So after enrollment, magpo-proceed tayo sa payment. After payment, mare-record ng system yung ating data. So parang organizational chart ng system. Okay, gets? So this is one of the example. Para siyang chart. So for katulad ng if familiar kayo sa mga organizational chart. So, for example, is dito sa ating department. So, from Dean, meron tayong department head, meron tayong program chair, and then meron tayong mga lecturers, gets. So, in contrast, PO and data in the module, Hypo does not provide any information about data flow or control flow. So both parts of hypodiagram, hierarchical presentation, and IPO chart are used for structure design of software program as well as documentation of the system. After, so proceed po tayo sa data dictionary. So the dictionary is referenced via data dictionary while designing and implementing software. Data dictionary removes any chances of ambiguity. It helps keep the work of programmers and designers synchronized while using same object reference everywhere in the program. So data dictionaries provide a way of documentation for complete database system in place when validation of DFD is carried out using data dictionary. So, ang data dictionary ay parang database ng information tungkol sa data. So, dito nakadefine lahat ng data elements. So, data dictionary should contain so data elements, data structures, data flow or data stored, and then data processing. Consists of the functions of data and control items, internal or external data stores within the following details. So for example, is employee name has 3 parts. So ang employee name is merong first name, middle name, and surname. So yun po yung ating data elements. Okay, gets? So ang description of data. And data structure, so it is a group of elements, also known as records, are meaningful combination of related data elements that is included in a data flow or in a data store. So kung ang ating data elements ay first name, middle name, and surname, ang kanya namang data structure ay as a whole, as a group of elements. So ang tawag na sa kanya is employee name. So kapag tinanong ko ang data structure, ano ang data structure? Yung group of elements. Gets? So for example, employee's name. So employee's name is the data structure, while ang data elements naman niya is the first name, the middle name, and the surname of the employee. Okay, gets? And then we have the data flow and data store. So data flow structures and motion, and then data store naman, data structures at rest. So it stores the information from where the data enters into the system and exits out of the system. And then the data store may include the files. So in files, we have internal to software, external to software but on the same machine, external to located on different machine. And then for tables, we have naming convention and indexing property. So again, in data processing, we have 2 types. So we have the logical and then the physical. So logical as user sees it, while the physical as software sees it. Sa logical, ang point of view po ay nasa user, while sa physical, ang point of view ay nasa software. After data dictionaries, we have decision tree. So decision trees are a method for defining complex relationships by describing decisions and avoiding the problems in communication. So as a decision tree is a diagram that shows alternative actions and conditions within horizontal tree framework. Thus, it depicts which conditions to consider first, second. Advantage po nito, it sets out the problem clearly and encourages logical approach, and then quantitative, and then it has useful when similar scenarios have occurred. Then ang disadvantage niya, constantly changing nature of a business, difficult to get accurate and management bias. So ang decision tree ay diagram para sa decision making. Pinapakita nito ang choices at ang possible outcomes. So for example, yung ating mga loan approval, cards approval sa mga bank. So if may income ka, i-approve ng bank kung ikaw ay pwedeng mag-apply ng credit cards. So if walang income, i-reject ka ng bank. So meron tayong decision making. So for its advantages, so it has clear decision flow. While yung advantage naman niya is minsan complex and mahirap siya pag maraming condition. Nagagets? So one of the example ng decision tree is this. So si customer is bibili ng book. So mamimili siya kung sa bookstore siya bibili or sa library. So sabi sa bookstore daw ang order size kapag bumili ka ng 6 or more, 25% discount ang makukuha. And then kapag less than 6 naman, no discount is allowed. And then kapag sa library naman, nag-order, yung order size dito is kapag 50 or more, 15% discount. And then kapag 20 to 49 books, so meron siyang 10% discount. And then kapag 6 to 19 naman, may 5% discount. And then kapag less than 6 ang bibilhin, walang discount. So ito po yung example ng decision tree. And then next naman is the decision table. So it is a powerful tool to debug and prevent errors. So it helps group similar information into a single table, and then by combining tables, it delivers easy and convenient decision making. So a decision table represents conditions and their respective actions to be taken to adjust them in a structured tabular format. So ang decision table ay parang table na may conditions or actions. So mas organized siya kaysa sa decision tree. So to create a decision table, the developer must follow basic 4 steps. So first is to identify all possible conditions to be addressed, identify actions for all identified conditions, and then create maximum possible rules. Then lastly, define action for each rule. And then decision table should be verified by end users and can later be simplified to replicate rules and actions. So for example po is sa student grading system. So ang condition natin is kapag nakadepende sa score. So ang condition is nakadepende sa score. And then ang action naman is kapag ang score ay above sa passing rate, ang action natin is pass. While kapag mas mababa yung score na nakuha, ang magiging action natin is fail. So naka-table siya para madaling basahin. So again, these are the 4 steps or 4 basic steps ng sa decision table natin. So first is to identify the condition and then create rules. After creating rules, we need to assign actions, and then after assigning actions, we will need to review. So systematic paggawa ng decision table. And then next naman, we have the structured English. So structured English is derived from structured programming language, which gives more understandable and precise description of processes. So it is based on procedural logic that uses construction and imperative sentence designs to perform operation for action. So it is best used when sequences and loops in a program must be considered and the problem with sequences of action with decision. It does not have strict syntax rules. It expresses all logic in terms of sequential decision structures and iteration. So it is used when the process logic involves formulas or iteration or when structured decisions are not complex. So based on structured logic and simple English statements such as add, multiply, and move. So sa structured English po, ito parang simplified programming logic gamit ang English. So in structured English, it is similar to algorithm. It is used to describe the logic processes which involves formula repetition or simple structured decision. So designs are made through if, then, else, and so statements. So ang ginagamit kong code dito sa ating structured English is the word if, then, else, and so. So this is the example. So gagamitin natin ang if. So if order is from bookstore. So si customer is mamimili siya kung bookstore or sa library siya bibili. So if order is from bookstore and if order is for 6 copies or more per book title, then discount is 25%. Nagigets? And so at kung ang bibili niya ay 6 copies or more, then discount is 25%. Else, order is for fewer than 6 copies per book title, so no discount is allowed. Nagigets? Nagigets po yung ating construction or pagkakasunod-sunod. And then else, order if from is from libraries or individuals, else order is from libraries or individuals. So if order for 50 copies or more per book title, discount is 15%. So kapag daw ang customer ay sa libraries o order, if ang order ay 50 copies or more, magkakaroon siya ng 15% discount. Else, if order is for 20 49 copies per book title, then the discount is 10%. And if order is for 6 to 19 copies per book title, then the discount is 5%. And else, if the order is for less than 6 copies per book order, so no discount is allowed. Nagagets po ang paggamit ng if, then else, and so statements. May question po. And then lastly is the pseudocode. So pseudocode is the code is written more to close programming language. So it may be considered as augmented programming language and then full of comments and descriptions. So pseudocode avoids further multiplication, but they are written using some actual programming languages constructs like the C, the Fortran, the Pascal, and such. And that pseudocode contains more programming details than the structured English. And it provides a method to perform the task as if a computer is executing the code. So, ang pseudocode ay mas close na sa programming language. So, mas detailed siya kaysa sa structured English. So, again, this is the example of pseudocode. So for example, for making a cup of tea, so organize everything together. And then after that, plug in kettle. Put tea bag in a cup. Put water into kettle. Wait for kettle to boil. Add water to cup. Remove tea bag with spoon or fork and then add milk or sugar and then serve. So parang actual code na siya. Nagagets? So ito ay mas close siya sa programming code, ang ating pseudocode. Meron po bang question sa ating chapter 7? Sa ating final and last chapter? So nagagets po ang ating DFD, data dictionaries, decision tree, decision tables, structured English, and the pseudocode. So overall, ang structured analysis ay tumutulong para maintindihan ang system, ma-design ito ng mas maayos at maiwasan ng errors. So malaking tulong ang tools like the DFTs, decision tables at pseudocodes sa paggawa ng ating system. So may question po ba sa ating naging for today? So if wala pong question, kindly type IS sa ating chat box. Okay po. So, again, since natapos na natin yung remaining topics for the final for the final topics natin is siguro i-upload ko na yung ating remaining activities and the final requirements, and then yung chapter 6 chapter 6.2 and then this chapter, ito po yung magiging kasama siguro sa ating final exam. May question pa po ba? And then, dun po pala sa mga students na hindi nakapag-attendance kanina, so kindly input your name sa ating chat box para po ma-record ko. So if wala na question, thank you for attending sa ating Google Meet. And then if meron naman kayong question regarding sa ating final requirements making, so siguro pwede mag-set ng meeting or let's meet via Google Meet, ano, or if hindi naman, just message me sa ating GC. So if wala na pong question, again, thank you for attending, and then God bless and ingat kayo.